rainy days, oh, rainy days. It's been raining for 3 days in New Orleans now. But you know what I say to that? It can't rain all the time. Welcome. Don't adjust your dial. Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering. That's right. Lo-fi as in low fidelity, low quality, in your face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? And it's Thursday. And we're running with that lo-fi global news, fresh off that press. Source, Reuters, Africa section. Somalia's president signs law extending his term. 15 killed in attack. An update to our story in Somalia and the presidential crisis there. The update? The crisis is over. The president says, I'll take 2 extra years in office, even though my term ended back in February. Thank you very much. And if you were wondering what democratic backsliding looks like in real time, this is it. However, this crisis is still very much a crisis. You see, the lower house of parliament signed on to the bill, but the upper house has not. And right after this was announced, Al-Shabaab performed a terrorist attack at the capital of Mogadishu, challenging the power of the government once again. Stay tuned, Lo-Fi listeners. Lots going down in Somalia this week. And our following story comes from the AP World News. France asks citizens to leave Pakistan amid violent protest. Now this here is another update to a story we haven't talked about in a minute, but that has surely come back and changed. Remember when a French magazine that runs political cartoons and satire ran with an image of the Prophet Muhammad? And if you're saying, which time? That's a correct answer too. These protests in Pakistan are asking for the expelling of French diplomats over the magazine publications. And France? Well, they're straight up telling their people, get out of the country now. We'll keep you updated as we hear more for sure. Now, moving forward because we never move on from anything. Source, NPR, World News. U.S. slaps new sanctions on Russia over cyber attack, election meddling. And mentioning a story about expelling diplomats, it appears that's exactly what the U.S. is doing to some Russian diplomats, amongst other things. So we've long heard about Russian interference in the past 2 elections and Russian cyber attacks on U.S. institutions, both public and private. But now the U.S. seems to be taking actions on both of those things, amongst other things like Crimea and Russia taking a piece of Ukraine for themselves. The rough outline of sanctions, the expelling of 10 Russian diplomats/spies from the United States. Sanctioning over 30 individuals, the exact details we're not quite sure of yet, as well as the sanctioning of some Russian tech companies that apparently were responsible for the hacking, 6 of them to be exact. Now, what will Russia do in response? That's an interesting question indeed, because we all know Putin don't play. Hit us up if you hear something first, Lo-Fi Nation. Next up, the BBC Tech section. Google Earth time-lapse feature. Winds clock back 37 years. All right, this is cool. That's why I included it. We all know you can look at Google Earth and see real satellite images of anywhere on the planet. Very, very nice. But now, you can look at these images over time. The past 37 years, to be exact. You see, I love things like this, seeing the world and how it's really changed. Because the short version is, you really can't say much at all about anything unless you're looking over time. And P.S., if you're wondering how much time I'll be spending using this new feature looking at Antarctica, the answer is a lot. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day from Reuters Middle East section. UAE selects first Arab woman for astronaut training. Noura Al-Matroushi, 27 years old, will be the first female Arab astronaut. Simply spectacular. And let me tell you why. Because if we're really going to understand our place in the universe, in the stars, we have to expand the people helping us do it. If we're truly going to find out who we are, then we need everyone contributing. Thank you, and congratulations, Noura Al-Matroushi. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. If you're interested in writing or reading letters of the Lofi Poli Sci, holla at me. Do you have a top 10 list idea? Send them on in. Do you have good news to share? Share it with us. Interested in being a co-host? Interested in episode takeover? Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Peace and well-being to all my human beings out there. Much love and always the best. Pickering, signing off.